Welcome back. You watch a terrific Tuesday edition of Liquid Lunch on Biz TV. And you know what? If nothing else, our audience out there on the Biz TV networks and also on Biz Talk Radio is made up of a heck of a lot of entrepreneurs, small business owners, self-investors, people that are independent, libertarian-like. They're out there. They're starting businesses. They're doing things. They tune into the show to learn things. And as silly as I may be sometimes when I have a few cocktails during my liquid lunch, I always want the audience to learn some things, pick some new things up to help them get better. That's what I do the show for, really. Trust me, I'm not getting rich doing liquid lunch. David Sussman joins us right now, and he's right in our wheelhouse. He's the founder of Valcor Worldwide. They're a small business advocacy and debt restructuring firm, and they have independent consultants all across the country. And David, oddly enough, you say that one of the main things we need for small businesses is, according to statistics, we need to get back to work, school, and life immediately. All three of those are critical right now.
Yeah, they are critical. We just had Stephen Moore interview with us last week. You know, he is the White House economic advisor and in charge of the economic task recovery force, you know, at the White House. And what he's telling me is that 1 out of every 3 small to medium-sized businesses are not going to make it. And so we have a massive tsunami that's about to hit. That's probably wait until after the election for it to actually make the mainstream news. But commercial real estate in your backyard in New York, all throughout major cities across the United States are going to start crashing with bank defaults. And that's going to be impacting small businesses as well when it comes to getting loans and working capital as well as demand. So we're suitably concerned right now.
Well, we must have the same booking agent because we also have Stephen Moore on the show often, and I love that guy because he puts it in regular terms. My background's on Wall Street. Since March, I have been I'm a short seller, and since March, I have been advocating to many of my viewers. I tell them what I do. I'm short Brookfield Asset Management. I'm short Simon Property Group. I'm short Gap Stores, I'm short Macy's, I'm short AMC Theaters. And to your point, I think commercial mall owners and commercial property owners in metropolitan areas with high-rise buildings are doomed for a decade to come. And in my real life, as a Wall Street person working, all my friends have hedge fund managers and business in Manhattan and everything else. Everybody's looking at their footprint right now and saying, well, wait a minute. I got, 5 of my key guys. I got 1 in Watchung. I got 2 in Red Bank, New Jersey. I got 1 guy out there in Somerset and 2 guys in Montclair. And those are my key guys. They're doing fine. Their groups can make their way to them in these low-rise buildings where they don't have to worry about elevators and all this other stuff. Everyone that's getting close to their lease end is thinking about reducing their metropolitan footprint significantly. And that hurts businesses bad.
Yeah, the people aren't just waiting until their lease end, though, John, because, I mean, we just saw Pinterest a couple of weeks ago. They actually spent $89.5 million to buy out their lease early in San Francisco. Think about that for a minute. Okay, this is a tech giant that spent $90 million, John, just to leave their premises. And so they don't need workers coming into San Francisco. You're seeing it in Midtown Manhattan, a lot of the Wall Street firms downtown as well. They're starting to realize, although JP Morgan is reversing themselves this week, they're starting to realize, though, that, you know what, a lot of our folks that are getting on subways and trains and cars and coming into the city, we really don't need them. They're being productive as it is at home. Why do we need to have a cubicle or an office for them when we can lower our footprint as well? So as Sam Zell says, you're looking at the Detroitification of downtowns all across the country. But what does that do for all of the small businesses that support those workers, the dry cleaners, the bars after work and restaurants and the like? I mean, this is a domino effect that I don't think, as you correctly stated, I agree with you 100%. We're not going to see in any kind of recovery mode for a decade. And I don't think it's going to go into recovery mode. I think it just changes. Yeah,
I was with a good friend of mine last night who's a pretty big developer in New York City and a speculator as well. And he said, JT, we're not there yet. but come January, February, March, there's going to be some deals out there where we could buy some small buildings and stuff for a song because these guys are dying. And I tend to agree with them 100%. But you know what? In the middle of all this crap, the economy added 1.4 million jobs last month. So things are happening there, right? It's still good. It's a green shoot, right?
It's a green shoot, but listen, we got to be really careful to not conflate our politics with the reality on the ground of the economy. I am a big supporter of the president's policies for the economy mostly. I'm deeply concerned about the $27 trillion national debt that we're barreling towards. We complained about that when Obama doubled it in 8 years as well. But we put that to the side. I'm a big believer in lower regulations, less taxes. That raises all boats as a tide. And as we know, historically speaking, Econ 101, when you lower taxes, receipts to the Treasury go up. John F. Kennedy knew that himself 50 years ago, 60 years ago. But the problem is that a third of those jobs that were reported in August, a third of them were government jobs. Almost a third of them were for the census. These are temporary workers going door to door. So we've got to be really honest about what types of jobs are being. And I'm not suggesting that the economy is not going in the right direction. It's just when you fall to the Mariana Trench, which is 36,000 feet below the surface of the ocean, and you come up 10,000 feet, you're still 26,000 feet below the surface. We've got a long ways to go.
All right. Well, thank you for teaching our audience even about the Mariana Trench. I didn't know that was 36,000 feet below the ocean. Hey, David, I don't know if you know this, but we try to even educate and create awareness with our guests. Today's National Linguini Day, in case you want to throw down a bowl of linguini tonight.
Nice.
But what can you do? You guys over at Valcor Worldwide, you do debt restructuring, you help companies, you give them advice, consulting. Your phones must be blowing up right now because I know a lot of small businesses are hurting and they're looking anywhere for advice.
Yeah, listen, we've been going since 1994, so we've seen recessions come and go. We've been there for boom times as well. There's always businesses that are in trouble no matter what's going on in the macro. However, listen, right now, this is unprecedented. And I think there's going to be books and movies and discussions for the next century about the time period that we're currently in the middle right now. Our biggest issue, and we've got licensees that we train, business consultants that are looking to either do this as a living or add this as an adjunct to an existing business, who help local small businesses around the country. And our biggest issue right now is to ensure that we can help those businesses. Some of them are way too far gone. We just can't help them. They're walking BK, they're dealing with litigation or whatever the situation may be. So we work primarily with small to medium-sized businesses. These are the forgotten businesses that the larger consulting firms really don't have an interest. We're dealing with companies that are doing typically $2 to $20 million a year gross revenue, upwards to $100 million. And we're dealing with all categories of business, from commercial real estate to medical to education, retail, franchising, restaurants, you name it. They are all telling us the same thing right now. They don't know if they're going to make it. And I'm not saying I'm losing sleep, but I worry because this pandemic is now, in my mind, I don't in any way want to suggest that the 180, 200,000 deaths in any way is insignificant. It is hugely significant. But as part of a percentage of the population, it's less than 0.5%, you know, when we take a look at from the standpoint of those that are impacted. But when we're talking about 1/3 of the 33 million small businesses in the United States that are going to be shutting their doors over the next 6 to 12 months, that's tens of millions of families that are no longer going to be able to pay their bills. And that leads to suicide, depression, drugs, drink, divorce, you name it. That is a pandemic on its own.
Wow. All right. I know 15,000 restaurants have already closed in America permanently. I know 21% of businesses are closed either temporarily or for good. So we're going in the wrong direction. And, you know, other than the suicide, I feel like I should be a small business owner because I have all the other afflictions right now, especially the drinking on this Liquid Lunch show here. Nah.
That's because you're a Giants fan.
Yeah, and I'm a Giants fan on top of it. Yeah, well, congrats to you and your Steelers. Big Ben had what a night tonight and last night. And I just told Mikey on my team, on my production team here, that he should pick up this kid Snell on his fantasy team because he looks like a diamond in the rough. That kid, he had some game.
Yeah, good kid.
No doubt about it.
Game.
All right, that's David Sussman. He's the founder of Valcor Worldwide. They advocate for small businesses, and they help you restructure your debt if you need it. Dave, sound advice. Really appreciate it. We got to have you back soon. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you. All right.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with more Liquid Lunch at WTF, correct some mistakes. And right now, my mom is on the clock because she said a little earlier she was going to have a bowl of linguini here for me by the end of the show. Hopefully we'll celebrate National Linguini Day the right way, right after this.